Welcome everyone. So hope your day's going well. This video is basically just going to be me doing an update on my previous stop motion tutorial basically. I'll just be going over things I've learnt so far and what you can do to improve your stop motions. If you're new to stop motion, the things I say will probably help you too. So yeah, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is FPS. I've used many different FPS speeds since I started making stop motion, all the way from 5 FPS up to 14. What I've learned is the minimum FPS you want to use, especially for Army Men stop motions, is 10 FPS. Nothing lower than that, because you'll end up choppy results. And from my experience, 10 FPS works the best, so I've stuck to using that ever since. So this is an example clip I made using the different FPS speeds. You can decide which one you think is the best, but you should be able to see that 10 FPS is the minimum. So up next I want to talk about the distance you move the toy soldiers. Here's some examples of me moving them different distances. As you can see, the smaller the distance, the more smooth the video looks. So don't move your soldiers a big distance because you'll end up looking choppy and that's not what we want. The next thing I want to talk about is camera angles and positioning. So what you want to do is change the camera angle every few scenes just to make things more interesting. Filming just one camera angle can look pretty boring and uninteresting. Changing the camera angle basically lets people view the video from different perspectives, so make sure you try to switch up as much as you can, but not too much. So the next thing I want to talk about is visual effects and sound effects. There are two apps I recommend you getting, this being InShot and Gun Movie Effects. InShot allows you to edit your stop motion together and add sound effects, and Gun Movie Effects will allow you to add muzzle flashes and other visual effects to your video. So once you've got these apps downloaded, what you want to do is export your stop motion to your camera roll from Stop Motion Studio, and then next you want to open up InShot and add your video. So once you've done that, you need to export it and it will basically trick the video into being 30 FPS. This will help you out once you go onto Gun Movie Effects, which is up next. So once you're on Gun Movie Effects, just add whatever effects you want. I recommend leaving the effects with the smoke behind them. That tends to make videos lag if used too much. And try to make sure you don't use a lot of visual effects in one project, otherwise it will basically overload and make it look laggy. Once you notice it starts lagging, then what I recommend doing is saving your video and exporting it, and then opening Gun Movie Effects back up and starting to add more effects into the video. So this clip we're doing now is the 10 FPS export from InShot. So I uploaded this onto InShot from Stop Motion Studios at 10 FPS, and the video has been tricked into 30 FPS. So what you're going to see here is the effects look much more smoother, and I'm going to do a comparison of if you just exported it straight from Stop Motion Studio onto Gun Movie Effects. So what you want to do on here is find at least 3 muzzle flashes. My guy only shoots twice, so I'm only going to find 2. But if you used to shoot more than 2 times, then I recommend 3 muzzle flashes just to make things look more different when you're editing. So just line them up. And when it comes to full auto, which I'm going to do now, what you want to do is find 3 muzzle flashes, put one in place like this, place it down, skip forward 2 frames and then place the next one, and then just continue doing that over and over again until you're satisfied with how long the effect goes on for, and then you'll end up with a result like this. Okay, so now what you need to do once you've edited your video, you need to go over to this little icon here And then once you've clicked that, you need to go down to build movie, and then just it should start building the movie from there. And then once it's finished, you click this little icon in the bottom right. Alright, now I'm going to show you what the effects look like if you export it straight from Stop Motion Studio and don't go through InShot first. So basically the effects register at 10 FPS instead of 30 FPS, so you end up with a more choppy result, and this is what it ends up looking like. As you can see, it looks really slow and does not look good at all. Once you've completed editing, you need to take your video back over to InShot, and then you can just import the audio straight from your camera roll. Easy as that. So once you've opened up your video, what you need to do is click music here, and then click music again, and then extract audio from video. So you can just choose whatever video you've recorded and just take the audio straight from that and plant it here in the video. Now you just want to line the audio up with when the person fires. You can also add background sound like gunfire or whatever. You can just do whatever you want with the audio. What I do recommend is trying your best to get copyright free sounds. If you don't want to use copyright free sounds, do so at your own risk, but that's completely up to you to decide. If you don't want to pay for gun movie effects, then you can always use practical effects. This involves using objects you have in real life to simulate visual effects. For example, you can use some scrunched up paper as an explosion, or simply use orange clay as muzzle flashes. If executed right, you can have a good final result. Right, so the next thing I want to talk about is storytelling and setting. Now this, in my opinion, is one of the harder aspects to pull off. So what you need to do is come up with a plot and characters. So what I recommend doing is having at least 2 main characters and just give them different personalities and ideas. If you're struggling to come up with a story or characters, then you can always just get ideas from movies, games or books, but just don't 100% copy the story you're inspired by, otherwise it won't really be your own. And there's many ways you can come up with a story. You can make a storyboard, which is as simple as drawing some boxes and then sketching your ideas onto that. Or you can just make a whole script and go off that, basically. You can make the choice. You can choose to do both, which is completely fine. Just find what you think is best and then just work from that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is setup and filming location. Well, there's 2 places you can film really, and that's outside and inside. Now if you're going to film outside, then everything's pretty much done for you already. Just use the environment to your advantage and create a story based around it. You can also add your own props to spice it up a bit, like building bases or checkpoints or whatever. But the downside to filming outside is you will experience light flicker. To avoid this, I recommend trying your best to film in shaded areas, or only film when it's sunny with no clouds, or when it's only cloudy with no sun at all. This way you can avoid the clouds constantly passing over the sun, which is what causes the light flicker. Next up is filming inside. Setting things up can be a bit more difficult than filming outside, since you have to get everything yourself and you can't just use anything in your garden. But yeah, I'll go over what you have to do. So there's many different ways you can film inside. If you're going for a Toy Story vibe, you can literally just use anything inside. You can just film on the floor if you want to, do whatever. But the best thing to do is this. First you need some cardboard. What you want to do is make a box out of the cardboard. Once you've done that, you can add in the ground. For this, you can literally just use sand or just get some dirt from your garden. Doesn't really matter, but just be aware you might have some bugs in there, so try and make sure you don't get big clumped up bits of dirt. Just make sure it's fine. The next thing you want is a desk lamp or any sort of light source. I wouldn't recommend using the normal light in your room, since it won't cover the setting enough. Just make sure you get a desk lamp or any sort of light that you can put directly over the setup. Once you've got all this, what you need to do is make sure your room is as dark as possible. So close your blinds, Make sure there's no natural light coming into the room at all, because you will experience a light flicker if that's the case. This way you can keep the light consistent and in the end have a good result. Well, that's pretty much everything I can think of. If you have any questions, just feel free to put them in the comments. I'll try my best to reply to everyone. And I just want to thank everyone for getting me to 4,000 subscribers. It's a great milestone and I appreciate all the support from everyone. So yeah, take care and stay safe.